We good?
We're good.
Bingo. There you go.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to our March 2024 general membership meeting. Apologize for getting started a little late for you guys that are watching on YouTube Live. But if you've been here in person, you do know that we take care of some housekeeping items prior to broadcasting live to the world, right? So I would like to welcome everyone that has just joined us via YouTube Live. Thank you for joining us. These meetings are very important. You know, we have them quarterly to give you the State of the Union, basically, give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have, and hopefully you leave here with a lot more information than you showed up with. So that being said, please identify yourselves in the chat area. That is not only your attendance for tonight's meeting, but it's also your entry into our raffle that we will be having at the end of the meeting, okay? So we have a dedicated staff that are taking down names of people who identify themselves on YouTube Live, just like we have dedicated staff that hand it out, and we'll be collecting attendance cards here in the room. And those cards will be put in at the end when we do our raffle later on. We will also have a question and answer period at the end of this meeting, so feel free to type in your questions in the comments section also, because we have other dedicated staff that are writing down your questions. We'll bring them up to President Newell at the end of the meeting so that he can address whatever questions you may have, okay? No question is too silly, no question is too small or too large. We're here for you. You know, obviously, we would love to see everyone here in person. It's great to hug people, shake hands, and give folks kisses. But you know, we understand that you know, not everyone can make it. You know, we've got our jurisdiction goes from Rhinebeck, New York, down into lower New Jersey and out into Amagansett on the eastern side of our jurisdiction out in Suffolk County, so not everyone can make every meeting. We understand that, and we do appreciate everyone, especially in the room, who took the time to brave out in the traffic to get here. So thank you. Okay, we're going to try and keep this moving as much as we can. We don't have any guest speakers tonight. It's going to be an intimate meeting. And probably a rapid one also. We know that you all have commitments at home, and we appreciate the time you took out to be here. So with that being said, we will kick it off to our first speaker, Field Director Greg Pasquale. Greg, come on up.
So I'm thinking, he's way too young to be a grandfather, right?
He's going to have to come up here, right, in the camera? YouTube people need to see you. Here, why don't you sit?
I got it. Stay there.
I never miss an opportunity to get out of there.
What did you say? It's going to be quick tonight? This is going to be about 50 minutes. Only kidding. So I was asked to talk about our fundraising. I don't want to come up and just list off everything we do for fundraising. I wanted to take this just a little bit further. We have, I guess I could say, like an obligation. We're a big organization with close to 17,000 members, and we kind of have an opportunity to do something good in our communities, nationally, locally, anywhere. So I look at our fundraising as, shit, we're doing something good, you know, for somebody. And maybe someday we're going to need these charities. So right now, we have a chance in our lives to do something, right? So we have fundraising events that a lot of the reps do. Really, all the reps should be doing something. And we have things organized throughout the year. So I want to just point out a couple of these. But going back to my original, you know, what I started this with, I feel like we have an obligation to do something. So with that being said, we have a few events throughout the area that I'm going to touch on. I'll start with what Rob said about the bowling. Raphael Molione is the rep for Dutchess and part of Northern Westchester. Raphael and myself put together a bowling event. Bowling event's 10 years now going into this thing. The event has grown to, we fill the bowling alley. This bowling alley's big, 40 lanes. We started with 60 people. We're up to like 250 that we're filling this bowling alley with. It's become a crazy event. And this is one thing I'm really proud of because we took something from nothing and we're growing it into something. Maybe somebody out there in one of your stores, I don't know, you have an idea. You have something that, shit, I could raise a little money for this. You talk to your rep, have an idea. Maybe that idea becomes something. So don't be shy with this. See your reps in your area. If you have something, let us know. So that's Raphael's event, Raphael and my event. It's May 18th. It's in Fishkill, New York. You'll see it on the website, I'm sure. There'll be flyers in certain areas, mostly off the website. Social media, yeah, thanks. So that's one event. That's Rafi's event. We also have.
Put it on his MySpace page.
What is that? What is that? I don't even. So
They got it, you don't have to.
Gina Guelli. Gina handles the comedy event at Governor's, and that's in Levittown, correct, Gina? Right? And Gina, she knocked this thing out of the park last year. So again, it's another event. If you'd like to attend it, reach out to your rep. We got information any place. I mean, attend the event. It's a great night out, and you have some fun. That's one. So I'm just kind of mentioning a few here. The fishing trip. Jeff Guardado. Okay, Jeff and Steve. It's mostly Jeff's event. I have to give the credit here to Jeff. It's Jeff's event. The fishing trip is nuts. It's a crazy event. But again, it's another idea that we're raising money to do something good, right? So thanks to Jeff with that. That's Eastern Long Island. But who says you live in Dutchess County, go fishing one night. Just like you live in Eastern Long Island, go see the bowling event. It's something to get involved with. And then Ville-Marie Flores. She is the rep for Westchester County. She does an event that is, it's called For the Children. And she raises money to send foster kids, New York City foster kids, to camp. They raise money for school supplies, things around the holidays. So Ville's got a nice event going. So this is all going back to my original point. If you have something, you might have an idea to do something, reach out to the rep, discuss it. We have a bunch of events, that's going on, and, God forbid, we don't need these charities in our lifetime. But right now, we have an obligation. We have a lot of people here in this organization, so let's raise some money. Okay? That's it. My voice stopped cracking. That was Rob. So.
Somebody should do a 50-50 bow. How many times Greg took his glasses off and put them back on?
Well, they're fogging up.
Can I have my water back?
Oh, no, yours is up there. This was.
No, that's my water.
There's one right here, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I brought it with me.
Yeah, that was mine.
Oh, hey.
Thanks, Scott.
That old memory is the first thing that goes, Greg.
I like you, but I ain't put my lips on your water bottle.
Bowling event and the comedy club, they also have Chinese auction type of raffles going on in those. So it's an event within an event.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what? That was very eloquent, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
I'm going to repeat that. The Bowl-a-thon is not only a bowling event, he also raises money by doing a Chinese auction where you could buy raffles and have a chance to win. And they usually have some really nice prizes. I know in the past, Greg has had generator, and I think I got my hands on a bike, so he's going to get a bike. And the same thing goes on
Not a
with...
motorcycle, Brian.
Yes, a bicycle. A bicycle. Sorry. And Gina's comedy club, last year she ran a Chinese auction there as well to help raise money. And she, I believe, is going to be raffling off a TV that I might have helped myself too, so she's,
Just basically told the whole world you stole the television. I just want to point that out.
I didn't steal nothing. It was donated to me. I asked for donations and they
How many
donated to me.
people in
Five-finger
prison admit that they did with their income? Starting to sound a little too comfortable.
I know nothing. It was donated to me by a good company, so I appreciate that. But the events that they're running, it's like an event within an event. So go there. If you're not a bowler, go there to win some raffles.
Joe's like, give me my microphone back.
Thank you. That was Director of Operations Paul Santarpia, everyone. Okay, so thanks, Paul. Seriously, our next speaker is a new member to our staff. She started with us unofficially in December, and then first of the year in 2024. So let's bring up Emily Dwyer. Okay. Local 1500's political representative. Emily?
Hi, yes,
Hi.
thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. As he said, my name is Emily Dwyer. I'm the new political representative for CW 1500. I'm very excited to be here. So basically, my role is going to be supporting legislation, supporting candidates that support our members and support you. So, I would really love to be able to grow this as an organization. It's a busy year. If anybody's interested in getting involved, please see me after the meeting. I'd absolutely love to connect. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here. And I'm also going to be helping out with some of the bingo picketing, other picketing events, and some social media as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't forget her face, because Emily may be in the stores soon doing voter registration. Please keep in mind, this is a presidential election year. For those contracts that have presidential election day as a paid holiday, in most cases, people have to be registered to vote. If you're not registered to vote, why would you give away a holiday? So we're going to run a voter registration drive as we always do. I'm sure Emily and the reps and service reps will be instrumental in helping you to get registered. We're not telling you which party to register under. It doesn't matter. You just need to be registered to vote to qualify for that holiday. So please keep that in mind, and if you see it, chase it down. She'll have the forms.
Can I just make one question? In our contracts, only some of us
That's
on
correct.
presidential elections are paid that day. Is there a way that we
It's
could give that to?
if it's in your contract, you're not gonna not get it. But there's a group of
Right.
people that are grandfathered that don't need to be registered to vote,
Right.
and then there's a group of people that do need to be registered to vote.
Right, but I'm talking about on election day itself. Are there people that are not grandfathered in to be able to get paid on election day? Is there a way that we could bring that up to everybody?
I don't understand your question.
On presidential elections,
Yep.
I'm allowed to actually get paid on that to have that day off.
Correct.
Other people aren't. Is there a way that everybody on a presidential election can be paid to, have that day?
Register to vote.
As opposed to just some of us who have been, here for.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the same thing I just said to you, but I'll say it a little bit differently. Everyone in your contract
Right.
who has 6 months or more of service is eligible for presidential election day. Some prior to, I think it's 94,
Right.
don't have to be registered to vote. Anybody after 94 has to be registered to vote. But yes, if you're registered to vote and have 6 months and 1 day, every single person in your company will get paid for presidential election day. If you're not registered to vote and you're hired after that threshold, then no, you wouldn't get it as a holiday.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is yes, everyone, but with 6 months or more. Okay? All right.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Good question. Again, we will, anyone think of any other questions that may pop up, we are having a question and answer period at the end of the meeting, right before the raffle. So, yeah, think about your questions and, we'll discuss them later.
I noticed a little something. You have 3 pencils.
Yeah,
He's got 3. Not one is the same.
right.
These are new. These are from like 2003.
Yeah.
And this could have come from any, I just,
Yeah, yeah.
is there a different, do you switch these up as the meeting goes?
Yes, different,
right.
different lead levels. They denote.
He's taking inclusivity to a whole
Yeah,
different level,
they-
I
they-
agree.
They denote importance levels to me.
You want,
so-
you don't have a blue one?
Oh, that's the.
Now you got a blue
It's
one.
a 1500 one, that's a,
I got black. Black is beautiful.
it is, yes, it is.
And as usual, Paul has now ended the bit.
Oh, man, so, look, again, look, I will give you my presentation, I'll keep it brief. I want to, it seems like every general membership meeting, I'm giving an update on Blank Street coffee bargaining, because we keep going. We started negotiating with them officially in June of 2023. To bring it back for folks who are unfamiliar, we were able to successfully organize Blank Street Coffee early last year. Yeah. About 140, 150 members throughout Brooklyn and Manhattan. Very, very, just like you guys, very cool membership, young, very aware of, the politically and as far as their jobs go. And we've got a great committee out there. Hopefully some of them are watching tonight, and that's not why I complimented them, but they are good. However, it's when you're dealing with a company that's never been unionized before, they, obviously we have to get used to them, but they have to get used to our culture and everything that we're looking for. Some things that we take for granted every day of the year. We just talked about King Cullen or Stop and Shop or any other companies that are represented here. There are a lot of ShopRite folks that are here in Fairway. Sometimes we take for granted all the things that are in the contract. Yeah, we fight about it every contract season. Stop and Shop's coming up next year again, believe it or not. But we already have a basis for what, we're going to be negotiating going forward. And that's usually the case with our legacy companies. We just take the existing contract and we try and improve on it. But when you don't have an existing contract, when you're non-union or never been unionized, you have no existing contract. So every single word that goes into the contract is debatable, all right? And we argue over it. A law firm named Jackson Lewis is representing Blank Street, and Jackson Lewis is doing their job, okay? And we're doing our job with our attorneys representing the workers, and it's been a difficult road. It's been a very long road, but I'm confident that we will get there. We are getting closer and closer every time we negotiate, and we have a session scheduled for this Friday afternoon into evening, so hopefully we'll make even more progress there. And I am hoping that at the next general membership meeting, we'll have some very, very good news for you, okay? Although I'll say this, although it's been a long road since June, it's been difficult, we've made a lot of progress. And if you think about some of the other coffee chains out there that have organized a union going back to even December of 2021, they've crossed the 2-year mark and haven't been able to have a successful bargaining situation with their union. So we wish them well, obviously, but winning, organizing, and union elections is very difficult, right? But that's only step one in the process, and we have to make sure that we bring them a contract that we can be proud of, that you can be proud of, because they're part of your family now. So we have a legacy to uphold. Even though these new companies don't know who we are, don't know our membership, don't know our history, we have to bring them in, assimilate them, if you will, to our culture and where we are. So obviously, we won't negotiate something that's substandard for them, for you, for them, for anyone, okay? So that's just who we are. Also, there are other companies that are looking to organize in the coffee industry. And when we are able to successfully negotiate this contract, we're basically negotiating the contract for these companies also, companies that haven't even stepped up yet, workers that haven't stepped up yet. So that's why it's difficult to have the conversations that we're having, the arguments that we're having at the table, but they're healthy arguments, knowing that we're constructing a brand new CBA from absolutely nothing, from scratch. So bear with us there, and we'll continue to update you on Blank Street Coffee. If you are in Brooklyn or Manhattan, highly suggest you stop by a Blank Street Coffee shop, and buy some coffee. It's some good stuff there. And big them up welcome them to the local 1500 family, and tell them that you're proud of what they're doing. Okay. What else is on my list? Gourmet Glot. Gourmet Glot has sold their Brooklyn store to a company named BAM. Okay.
Like Emerald, bam.
It's going to be a Cajun kosher company. No, but typically, we never want to see any of our stores sold, our membership, go somewhere else. BAM has, however, signed on to a recognition agreement and
An assumption.
agreement. Thank you. I keep forgetting the name. So they're assuming the existing contract, right? And they're recognizing Local 1500 as the bargaining agent for the folks in the store that they purchased, right? They're also committed to keeping all of the employees there, okay? Best case scenario for a company that comes in and purchases one of our existing stores or companies, quite frankly. So we'll keep our eye close to that situation, and we will report back to you on how things are going there. That Onassis over there? What's up, Onassis? How you doing, though?
Get him some coffee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that. I heard it actually.
Two drips at a time, apparently.
Also Gourmet Glot, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with Gourmet Glot, it's a kosher supermarket chain.
Got some in the room.
We do have some. Do we have some Gourmet Glot folks here? Come on, let me see some hands.
There you go.
Yeah. Again, welcome to our family, Local 1500. Glot, you'll hear about another kosher entity that we are picketing in southern Nassau County. I'm going to try not to give too many details because I get accused of taking everyone's thunder out here, when I go MC and go first, right? So I'll keep it very vague.
Yeah, all accusations, none of them justified.
Rumors. But this entity opened recently, and we knew that they were going to put a hurting on Gourmet Glot, quite frankly, in Nassau County. So we put a picket line up on this location to try and help our Gourmet Glot stores in the Five Towns area, right? Southern Nassau County there. There has been some negative impact on the Gourmet Glot folks, and they are unfortunately laying off some folks. But we will monitor it there. We did meet with the company early this week. We have to tweak some of the seniority situations there because sometimes company officials like to hold on to the folks they like to hold on to rather than the more senior folks, right? And we had to kind of straighten that situation out.
There was a problem reading the seniority list.
Yeah, I think they had it upside down. That was the problem. But yeah, I think we're straight there. It's an unfortunate situation, but we're going to be placing most of those folks and helping out the folks that were displaced as much as possible. Again, they're part of our family, so we're going to do everything to help them out there. The last thing on my list, I told you I was going to keep it brief. I'll keep it very brief with details. When our grievance and arbitration procedure, right, is something that's it's sacred to us, right? It's like one of our cornerstones in our contracts, okay? In more regular terms, if you get disciplined, suspended, terminated, there's a process that you can go through because you have your union contract. where you reach out to your union rep. You could call them, email them, text them, whatever, have your steward call. And then they come in and they have their union meeting or your union meeting. And most of the meetings are resolved, right? Person goes back to work, some sort of corrective review, or we find out that the company was off base and, you know what, it's handled a different way. Sometimes we don't get to an agreement at store level or with HR or labor relations, whether we have a first, second, or third step meeting, right? And then we head off to arbitration. So it's a very important tool in our grievance and arbitration, I guess, clause, as I mentioned. Year to date, we have been able, and it's only March, right? We have been able to secure $47,500 for folks that were either on the way to an arbitration or during the course of an arbitration. Get them that money, that either back pay to return to work or money for them if we just couldn't reach a settlement with the company and they had to go. All right, well, if Joe's got to go, then, you know, give him some money to help him transition to his next part of his life. So I'm very proud so far. It's $47,500, and we're still going. We have another couple on our docket to arbitrate coming up. And look, we're going to continue to fight for our members as hard as possible. And even if the company says you're terminated, you got to go. Doesn't necessarily always mean you're terminated and you got to go. And if you are, and if you do have to go, wow. And if you do have to go, then you know what? We're going to try and make it as palatable as possible for you. Okay? That's what we're here for. That's what we do. So thank you, folks.
For those of you in the room, the gentleman in the leather jacket who just walked in has been the union's printer for probably as long as I'm alive. That's Dave Gelly. He's a good friend of our family.
Yay!
And more than likely responsible for anything that you've read or has been printed with our logo on it for a very, very long time. He's here on a visit from across the country. He's going to give blood tomorrow if they allow him. So, David, thank you very much. Welcome. Good to see you, brother.
Thanks, Dave.
That was a delayed clap.
Yeah, I wanted to personally say thank you for showing
The
up.
screen in front of us is like 10-second delay.
Yeah, I'm trying.
You're not on the screen.
I'm going to pass it over to our Secretary Treasurer, Ally Watt.
Thank you. I appreciate the applause, but I did want to go back to Joe's presentation. I do want to give him a round of applause. What he was talking about is actually extremely important, making sure that our members have a due process, something that they can rely on. Because when you're a worker and you get fired and you don't have a union, you get sent home and there's nothing left for you to talk about. That's what happens. There's nothing. And that may seem a little foreign to us in the room because we don't have to deal with that, right? We never did. We all came from the store, so whether we're staff or we're members, none of us deal with that. And for us, I think every year that goes by, we kind of forget that that environment exists out there. So I also wanted to mention something that's worthy of an applause, is that we filed an election for some workers recently. Some workers that have been fighting to be able to have what you have. Some more coffee workers and the workers at Partners Coffee filed for an election last Friday, and I'd like to congratulate them and tell them just how proud we are of the work that they're doing. You know, any of us have sat across from management, and it's not easy, union or not. I don't pretend to think that sitting across from your employer and saying, I want more, I deserve more, I mean, you know, having the question from the floor come up, how can we get others to have the things that I have? To me, that's the message that we all need to be living every single day. It's commendable to talk about giving someone the things that you have. Because if more people thought like that, there would be more equality, more justice, and pencils would look more like the pencils that Joe has and not, you know, what pencil that I have. But, you know, in all seriousness, and I think our message did take a little bit of a humor and some tone here, and I like that, because I don't think that it should be so heavy, and every time that we speak that we should bring people down. We should be lifting each other up, and Because that's what my message is about. It's about looking out for each other. Whether you wear whatever color shirt, it doesn't matter. When we're in this room together, we're all fighting for the same things. We're all trying to equalize what's going on. Every time I turn around, I read, and I'm trying to look for some kind of information or potentially some inspiration to write something for the membership to read in an article or anything else. I find a lot of things that are really depressing. I think some of them are common sense. Some of the things that we talk about and we already know is that there's a lot of a part-time workforce out there that, whether you're union or not, that exists, right? Some people by choice, and that's amazing. But there are a lot of people that are working 2 jobs because they can't make ends meet. And that's a really difficult conversation to have. And that's also something that we know that exists in our stores. Something that we know that companies use as a practice to keep their labor costs down. Something that we know that they use as a practice to keep the cost of their benefits down. And it's something that they're not going to stop doing. So without a union, without having the ability to do the things that these workers at Partners or Blank Street or any other company that's trying to unionize are doing, without having that, you only rely on yourself. And that's the difference between us and non-union workers, that we rely on each other to make this happen. Now, we're lucky we have a team. We sit down every year. We plot things out. I meant to say plan, but plot sounded better, so I'm okay with that. And as I'm going through this conversation, I'm realizing we're at the first general membership meeting of this year. Last year made the first year that we were able to be live, and that's amazing. It was great. When I look around this room, kind of tells me that we're getting back to regular business. And getting back to regular business, companies are going to start to think of things that are going back in the direction where, we fight the $15 minimum wage in a way, right? And I don't want to say it like that, because we do support our companies, and I actually mean that for them. We try and balance things out. We want to make sure that everyone is getting what's fair for them. And in that fear and trying to move into areas where we haven't been before, sometimes we have to be very careful of what we could potentially be cutting out for members. And I want you to know that we're really looking at those things. We're actually looking at the fact that, Joe's article was written around shrinkflation. The fact that they're cutting the size of everything that you're buying. They're making it smaller and smaller. And as we all joke around, we could all lose a couple of pounds. But we don't want to do it by force. I'd rather be able to be the one that's managing, my calorie count, rather than the company telling me what I should be buying. And that's for union and non-union companies alike. But what's not growing at the same pace is the benefits and the level of protections and the money that's coming back into everyone's pocket. And I'm sure everyone's feeling the pinch. I think this year, as we walk into the season, that we're going to start bargaining. And you heard Joe talk about all of the difficulties when you're trying to bargain a contract that's coming soup to nuts from nothing. You're sitting there, you have a blank piece of paper, and you're like, what the hell am I going to put on this? What do these workers want? What are they going to benefit from? Because we could actually be impacting the lives of people for so many years to come. We don't take it lightly. We're actually designing the first coffee contract that's existed. So this is an event that's going to pioneer a lot of things that are going to change. I'm sure that the folks at the Starbucks that are represented currently in Stop and Shop are going to be paying attention also, because there are some things that are very different about this contract, because the stores are corporate stores is what they call the stores that are freestanding, and especially the Starbucks world, and obviously we're not bargaining with them, but similar mentality, similar landscape, and similarities that we don't always appreciate. So I wanted just to give you all a message about sticking together, making sure that you are not looking at things in a way where, maybe the person standing next to you is making a different rate or has some benefits because they started at a different time. Let's talk about how we get everything up to that standard, as we heard earlier. And I really love that message, because a message of holding each other up is what we need to be doing every single day. Really happy to have Emily on board. I think that Emily's going to be a great resource to us and an asset in the years to come and in the time to come. We have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot that's going on. We met with some company officials recently who shared with us that there's a lot of issues with the changes that happened from COVID, and COVID left a lot of a lot of things, a lot of residue that is not just health related. We have some improvements that were made, and folks with their EBT spendings that were taken away. Now that money's not coming back into your stores, and whether you agree with it, because politically, I know sometimes we all have different opinions, but at the end of the day, if you're taking that money away and folks are not spending it in the stores, trust me, they're not taking regular dollars and turning them into food, because if that money wasn't allotted to them before, they're not making that money up in another place. And whether we're talking about raising the minimum wage or raising, a COLA increases for your Social Security or any other improvements that anyone got economically, that money came down when we're talking about your EBT awards that people get. So those are things that we need to keep in mind. When the companies are losing money, you're also losing hours. And we want to also balance that. So our union companies are not always the enemy. We don't look at them that way. But as I said, as we lead into our bargaining session, we definitely have to check that. So whether it's that they're losing money or whatever it is, we're not going to take less at the table. Something else I wanted to mention to you is today, actually, I read something where Dollar Tree, and I think Rob has talked a lot about people trying to save money, going to maybe the brand that you always mention, how you quote the branding, cheaper products or less expensive products.
Oh, yeah, you're not paying for, there's no chain of custody. So it's easy to get a cheaper product. It's not made here, it's not reviewed here, it doesn't run through any of the same governmental standards or protections that any of the national brands do. So when you have these off brands, you have no idea where they came from, and you have no idea what the chain of custody. You have no idea how they were produced, where they were produced, if they were handled by people who have been properly trained. And that's what is always going to separate our membership from a lot of the non-union folk in our industry, the fact that they're trained, the fact that that training has existed for generations and is passed down from worker to worker. I mean, quite honestly, you don't know what you're buying when you walk into those stores. You've never heard of those brands. That product is who knows where it comes from, and who knows where the ingredients are sourced to make it. So at the end of the day.
Yeah, so the fact that I wanted to cite is that Dollar General and Family Dollar were actually cited for having lead in their spices, more specifically cinnamon. So these are the things that you're going to see in these types of companies, whereas in a company where they're following the rules, and usually, look, if a company is breaking the rules, whether there is tax evasion or they're not paying their workers correctly, they're already breaking the rules. So the chances for them to have that type of behavior is always going to be more common. So just be mindful of that, even for yourselves and for your families, and always remember that. Just try and keep an eye on those things. Thank you, Rob.
No problem.
And look, I mean, the bottom line, if you really can't pay a living wage to your workers, you don't really have a good business model, right? And that's something that they should really live by. And that's a message that we want to send not only to non-union companies, but also union companies, to say, let's try and raise things up. Let's bring things to the standards that they should be. And let's have a great season in bargaining. Thank you.
So if you think about what Ali just said, it's pretty easy to draw a very simple line of comparison, right? If you think about the products in our stores, and I'll be very simple, think about a banana in any one of our supermarkets or an avocado in any one of our supermarkets, and then compare to purchasing that same item from a street vendor on the street in New York City. Are there chances that you're going to buy a banana that was handled properly and has no issues? Sure. Is there chances that you're going to buy an avocado that's fine and will ripen the same way that one purchased in a supermarket, handled by a professional food handler with a department manager and a team that actually reviews the product before it's placed for sale? Sure. Do it every day. There's also a chance that you're going to get sick. There's a chance that you have absolutely no idea where that product came from, where it was the day before, and you could also be buying it from somebody who has a cigarette hanging out of their mouth, no shoes on their feet, and has been there for 18 hours without a break and doesn't have access to a bathroom or any sink or soap. It's the same principle. If you don't know where these products are made, if these products are made in countries that do not have the same standards that ours does, you run that risk. And I understand, again, to Ali's point, people are feeling that pinch and you're trying to make the dollar stretch a little bit further. But there are limitations to what people can do. And, you know, if every place you go, a bottle of cinnamon is no less than $3, but if somebody else can find a way to sell it for $1.50, I would venture to tell you there's a problem with the cinnamon. Call me crazy. Look, we're dealing, and Joe referenced the recent arbitration settlements, and some of those settlements have been with some of our new contracts that we got through our involvement with Local 1718 and Local 888, predominantly in our kosher division. God bless you. You know, we've had some great things. Since we last met, the Pomegranate Company, the membership there joined Local 1500. They assimilated from Local 888 to Local 1500. They ratified that situation. The company recognized us. We're in the process of converting their old contract into something that's a little bit more 1500-like. We've had some progress and some difficulties with Aaron's Casino Farms in Kew Gardens Hills. For my former Pathmark folks, right across the parking lot from where the old Kew Gardens Pathmark was. It was an independent store then, it still is now, it's an independent kosher store. And every time we think we're out of the woods there, we end up back at the NLRB filing charges because we can't get them to comply with what we feel are the simplest of things. You know, it's interesting, we've so used to fighting with our established employers. I don't want to say that it's easy or that it's second nature, but when you know who your adversary is, you kind of know they're always going to lead with their left, so you wait, and when they do, you knock them on YouTube, you knock them the hell out, right? So it's been a while since I dropped an F-bomb on YouTube. So when you're dealing with companies that you're still trying to kind of establish those parameters, Joe talked about and Ali both talked about bargaining new contracts, and again, we jokingly say, winning the organizing campaign is the easy part. And then it's negotiating the contract. And then you could turn around and say, well, negotiating the contract's the easy part because now you have to enforce it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on the length. And we're dealing with negotiating new contracts with this group. We're dealing with enforcing existing contracts with this group. And we're dealing with very simple things that in our regular stores, in our industry stores, our legacy stores, our Key Foods, our Pathmarks, our Pathmark, listen to me. Apparently I got in a DeLorean earlier. Our King Cullen stores, our Stop and Shop stores, our food bazaars that we don't deal with. It's a vastly different set of issues. And it's costing us a lot of money. Legal expenses, arbitrations, charges at the board, hearings, court reporters, all of it. This union's done it all 35, 40 years ago, and we're back doing it again today. We met with Union Council today to say that they were a little concerned with the number of things we have on the docket is an understatement. We're always going to do what we have to do what's right by our membership. We have to defend workers' rights. You know, it's easy sometimes to take the first exit, but that's not the best solution for our membership. It's certainly not the best solution for the future for members that we haven't even met yet. Folks that haven't even walked through the doors of our companies yet don't know what it is that we're doing to protect their rights in the future. And we're going to continue to do that every single day, whether it's with these stores in the kosher division or whether it's with any one of our legacy employers or a new employer in the coffee division. We're going to continue to try to do what's right because that's what we get paid to do. We have a moral obligation as much as we have an obligation based on our positions that you elected to us to serve. This is the first general membership meeting of this term. Our new term as your elected officers started January 1st of this year. I couldn't be prouder to start a new term with this membership and with the team that we have. And I look forward to, I don't want to say many more, but I look forward to a few more until my time comes. We're all working with the same goal in mind. Work to that last possible day that we need to work, and then we're going to pick up and we're going to go home and we're going to look back fondly. In the audience tonight, and I'm going to embarrass her a little bit because I signed her pension last week, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit, is Shari Billig. I go back a long way with Shari. I was a lot younger and a lot skinnier when I met her. Shari hasn't aged a day. I don't know what it is. But you know what? It's folks like Shari that have made my career possible. They've made my career tough at times. They've made my career fulfilling. Because anyone who's willing to stand up and help their coworkers or defend their coworkers or take the unions back, even when it's a hard moment to do that, is few and far between. You know, many of you in this room share a lot of those qualities. And I'm sure there'll be folks that are texting me before the meeting's over. You didn't do that when I retired. And I'll get a couple nasty grams and I'll take them. But I said this, I called Shari because the first thing, I said, holy shit, is everything okay? I just wanted to make sure there wasn't an issue, there wasn't something I didn't know about. And I can't be anything other than proud of her because she's doing exactly what it is I want to do for my family. She worked up until the point that she feels the time has come. She's given the best parts of her life to her employers and her union, and the time has come for her to enjoy it. I'm envious. I'm mad at you, but I'm envious. Just like many of you in the room are going to be. And the first thing out of her mouth after she choked a little bit was, I'm only a plane ride away. You got a picket line. You need me. I'm there. That's who Shari Billig is. So for me, I just want to say thank you. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. I just want to say thank you. And there are, without doubt, there are quite a few of you out there that are just like Shari Billig, and I want to thank all of you. And this was the opportunity for me to do that, so thank you. Okay, sorry. King Cullen members, just so you're aware, Rob Ecker, the gentleman in the corner there, got the final version of the contract back from the printer today.
The printer?
Oh, from Dave. That's ironic. So it's like a bridge of happiness between those two. So it was translated into Spanish for the first time. So when you get your King Cullen contracts at the staple, to the left of the staple will be the contract tip to tail in English, and then to the right of the staple or behind the staple will be in Spanish exactly the same. It's high time that this contract was translated into Spanish. There are a number of hundreds, if not thousands, of people who work for King Cullen that don't speak English as a first language when you look over a 4 or 5 year period of time. And they are more than deserving of being able to read their contract and not need someone else to translate it for them. So we're very excited to get that contract out there. Joe referenced earlier, and it was before we went live on YouTube, we know we're having some issues with dues deductions at Stop and Shop. Michelle Wright, our office manager, more than anyone else on the planet, knows the issues that we're having with Stop and Shop's dues. We have people being deducted dues for an extended period of time, people deducting initiation fee for an extended period of time, people getting double dues deducted for an extended period of time. We don't have the ability here at the union to flip a switch and turn that off, or to flip a switch and get you your money back. The employer pays you, they have access to your payroll, they can stop the problem in most cases. For whatever reason at Stop and Shop, and those of you that work there probably won't be shocked by this, anything simple is impossible. If it's convoluted, if it's difficult, if it's 26 degrees of separation to get a well, yeah, we can do that. They'll have 27 people work on it. But to stop taking money unnecessarily out of people's checks apparently is an impossibility. So once they start a process, it has to run through its completion for them to fix it. For those of you that like the National Lampoon movies, it's like there's a little bit of Mississippi Leghound in them. They just want you to let them finish. We're not a big fan of that. It's creating a lot of difficulty for our membership. It's creating difficulty for our office staff. And quite honestly, I think there's a little bit of confusion that it's us, that we're telling the company, deduct this money, keep deducting this money. I guarantee you it's not us. So I just ask that you be patient as much as you can. I don't expect that you're going to be happy about it. Anybody who's taking money out of my check that wasn't supposed to come out, I'd be furious too. So I respect your feelings. but we can't just get them to stop it. We've had multiple meetings. Joe had a meeting with 2 vice presidents on January 26th. They are definitely working on the problem, but it's Stop and Shop. And everything simple takes forever. And the best part about it is at some point, they'll have it fixed. It just won't be fixed right. And they'll create a second set of issues that we'll then have to collect the data on and figure it out. And look, it sucks, right? Stop and Shop's our largest employer. They've been slowly closing stores. There's rumors out there now about 2 stores. You know, Greenvale is one of them that I've heard. I understand, look, I'm not here to spread rumors, so I'm going to try to stay as, if it comes, it comes. I'm not going to deny it. But the realities of the contraction in that company are real. Think about the last number of years. Think about the number of stores they've closed, leases that they've let expire, stores that they've allowed either sold or allowed someone else to come in and buy the lease. Look, we've met with the upper echelon at Stop and Shop, and for the most part, they're really decent people. Whether or not they do their jobs well, that's not for me to judge. If I was a regional vice president in produce or grocery, then I would judge them. That's not what I do for a living. If they tried to judge what I do for a living, I'd tell them where they could stick their opinion. So I certainly wouldn't think they want to hear my opinion. The opinions they should be listening to, though, are yours. You're the ones that are in the stores. You're the ones that try to implement their practices and their new ideas. And I would tell you that you need to get vocal, because a lot of what we're hearing, a lot of what we're seeing is that no one's listening. No matter what, no one's listening. And it's going to have an impact. It's already had an impact on our head counts in the stores. It's technology, technology, technology. Well, if there's one company out there that's proof positive technology does not work, it's Stop and Shop. You know, every iteration of Steal It still just leads to more and more shrink. So, look, they're our largest employer, and they employ almost 6,000 of our members. I'm by no means do I want them to have difficulty, because that puts a lot of people in a very difficult situation. No different than the announcement earlier today that 1,000 Dollar Tree and Family Dollar stores are going to be closing in the next year. There's 8,000 stores nationwide. They're going to close 1,000 based on leases. They're just going to let these leases expire. I mean, 1,000 out of 8,000 stores is pretty significant. And as much as those are non-union companies, and as much as they ran a horrific warehouse where they got a $40 million fine for, you know, rodents dead, alive, decaying, and mass producing all through it, still thousands of people that work in those stores. There are hundreds of communities that are going to be negatively impacted by the lack of any ability to purchase basic staples. And no, I don't recommend anybody do their grocery shopping in a dollar store, but for some, there's no other choice. And if that choice gets taken away, what then? How do you provide for your family then? So as much as I'd like to celebrate a non-union store contracting 1,000 out of 8,000 stores, that's just kicking a baby. I don't necessarily think that that's wise. I'm sure our employers in any areas around those stores will look to capitalize, but the question is does capitalize mean put more people on? Does capitalize mean provide better service, possibly shoot some good prices? I guess that remains to be seen. So we understand there's issues at Stop and Shop, both in dues and probably every single work category above that, and we are working with them. You heard Joe reference 3 or 4 times an informational picket line that we put up in the lower Five Towns area down on Burnside Avenue in the Nassau County Inwood, not to be confused with the Manhattan Bronx Inwood. The store is called Bingo. Bingo Wholesale is effectively a kosher Costco. We are involved in what will be a long-term informational picket to inform and try to educate those consumers that, to steal a phrase that was coined by a previous president of our union, there's more to life than cheap underwear. And in this case, there's more to life than slightly lower prices. Good night, Sandor. And we want to make sure that those consumers understand what the repercussions are of those cheaper prices at Bingo. And then what those repercussions are people not being paid overtime after 40 hours, people not receiving workers' compensation benefits, people being terminated without cause, getting no paid time off, company avoiding complying with the simplest labor laws that your companies wouldn't dream of violating. And for that reason, we're going to engage in this informational picket line because it matters to working standards in that area as much as it matters to our members in the surrounding kosher stores that we represent. So that line's going to be up for a while. We encourage any members of our union to come down and join us. Paul Santarpia and Jay Scozelli are the 2 point people for our local. The line's up Tuesday through Friday. Don't laugh, those are the busiest days in the kosher food stores. They're not open on Saturday, it's closed on Saturday. So that's the reason that we're there on those days, and we're going to be there for a while. We have staff on that line, we have paid pickets on that line, and we have had membership volunteers even from other unions there. So I encourage you to come down and support our members down in the 5 towns. I was hoping to get an answer from Maria Maloney, but if you're watching, look at your phone and answer my text message. Yesterday, we had today's Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yesterday, we had a trustee meeting here, pretty much for the majority of the day. One of those meetings was for the pension fund. Every quarter, we get appeals in both the pension fund and the welfare fund. It's very normal. There was 2 pension appeals, though, that really rang true to the Board of Trustees. And again, there'll be specifics sent out to you. I'm trying to see if it's something we're going to send out via an SMM, which is a summary of material modification, or if it's something we maybe just do an independent letter on. But one has to do with surviving spouse benefits. The way our plan was written, I didn't write it. I wasn't even employed here when they wrote it, so please understand there are some things that go back to the 50s and the 60s that we're still just trying to wrap our heads around. And if we get an appeal that helps us get through that process, that's why we always encourage someone to appeal if they get a decision that they don't agree with or they don't think is right. And in this case, we had a widow whose member husband who was collecting his pension passed away. For us, that process, when we get notified, is we send out an application to the surviving spouse, provided there is one. They have to fill out the application process similarly to the member. And first of the month following the receipt of all the completed application and all the documentation, we would commence the surviving spouse pension. In this particular case, it took the surviving spouse about 8 months to get that information back to us. Now, the plan's written very simply. First of the month following the receipt of all the documentation is when that benefit would commence. Is that not like double jeopardy? The person just lost their spouse, and now we're going to tell them that if it takes them 2 or 3 months to get the paperwork together and wrap their head around it, that we're not going to give them their survival spouse benefit until they do it. It's crazy. So thankfully, we had a really solid appeal. It gave the Board of Trustees a good amount of time to hash it out, and it'll be modified, I know for sure, for 2024. I'm not 100% sure counsel to the fund needs to write the amendment, but the trustees voted that a surviving spouse can claim up to 12 months of retroactivity if there's a delay or a lag in getting the paperwork in. Now, some of you may be sitting there going, I don't understand why it would take somebody that long, but understand not every surviving spouse picks up a phone and calls the pension department and says to Terry or Monique, "Hi, my name is Rob Newell and my spouse passed away." In some cases, we find out from a third-party company that we pay to do Social Security investigations, to actually review obituaries, and to review a number of government filings where if people are deceased, they report them to us. And we get a lot more information that way than we do from direct contact from a surviving spouse. So now we may be working on information, an address or a phone number that could be 10 years old or 15 years old. So it could take the fund office a while to track them down. Terry Gorman spends more time on Facebook tracking people down than anybody I've ever seen in my life. People send her their first request. What do I got to do? It's Facebook Messenger. And I'm not encouraging you to do that because I discourage her from doing that. But we really do take every opportunity we can to try to make sure that we're in communication with our pensioners, because once you don't have that weekly communication or that monthly contact with your union rep, it becomes easier and easier not to update your information. You have no idea the amount of obituary information we get off of Facebook, because that's one place where people just, oh, there's Maria Maloney, so now I'll get you the answer. Yes, so there will be an SMM. So you'll get a much different and much more clarified version of the modifications that I'm talking to you about. The second has to do with disability, applications for disability pensions. So in some cases, people get hurt on the job, they have to come off the job, but they don't have their Social Security Disability Award. That process can take, I've seen it take almost 2 years with some people, especially on an appeal. But in most cases, the member can't sustain not having some degree of income while they're waiting for the Social Security Administration to make that decision. In most cases, people will file and they'll take an early pension. So an early pension comes with a reduction. That reduction could be based on your age. That reduction could be based on your years of service. It could be based on a combination of both. So if you were qualified to get a $1,000 pension, but your early pension number brings you down to $750, if you're able to get a disability pension, it would have been 100%. So you could be back to the $1,000. And the way the plan is written now, if you applied for that early pension, you couldn't convert it to a disability pension. The board ruled yesterday that, and it will be amended, you'll see all the specifics. So what I'm saying now is not binding in any way, shape, or form. When you get the SMM, that's the binding part. But if someone has a Social Security award that goes back to the date of injury or is based on that injury when you were in covered employment, your pension can be converted to a disability pension. And for some people, that's a substantial amount of money. You know, if you know the way our early retirement factors work since we made the changes in the mid 2000 teens, it drops 8% from 65 to 64 and those numbers. So a lot of people who have a lot of tenure in the union really need to get to 63 and a half to 64 before the lion's share of that money comes back to them. And it goes the same way when you go early. 8%, 12%, that's a lot of money. And then if you take a spousal option on top of it, again, it drops by the rate that's in the mortality tables. It's a lot more specifics. Terry and Monique are probably nerding out over there. Yes, they're not the only people that talk about this. But understand that those were two really important changes for the participants of the pension fund, and I encourage you to read the SMM. I don't often do this, but I will. I congratulate the management trustees. All three of them voted in support of these amendments. They all felt the same as we did, that it was morally correct and it was the right thing to do for our pensioners. So I think it's been a long time since we've been able to make a positive change to the pension fund. Actuarially, it should not have a fiscal impact on us at all, so that's a good place for us to be. Last year, the pension fund, as Joe was starting to read and blowing my cover, had an 11.6% return. It's a great year for the pension fund. I can tell you that the last 60 days of the year took us from probably sending you a letter that you were going into the yellow zone and now has secured us in the green zone for about 3 or 4 years. That's easy for me to say sitting here, but if the pension fund has a negative investment return this year, we're going to be sending you a letter that you're in the yellow zone. The pension fund is currently almost solely based around its investment returns. So many members are out of the DB pension fund. There's over $850 million in assets, and you're getting less than $30 million in contributions. So if you think about those two numbers, if there's a negative impact on $850 million, the $30 million in incoming contributions, it's like the tail wagging the dog. It doesn't work. So you need positive investment returns going forward. We have every reason to believe that we have the best investment managers working with our fund now than we have in the history. And 11.6 is a great return, but it's also undoing a really horrific 2022. So it takes a little while to rebound from those types of terrible years. You have a negative year, negative 5%. It's not that you lost 5%. The projection is that you're going to make 7.25. So a negative 5 is actually a minus 12.5, or 12.25, excuse me. So that's the difference. We're very thrilled with the 11.6, but a second 11.6 this year would make us even happier. It would give us a little bit of cushion. The Health and Welfare Fund had a return of 6.59%. That's fantastic. We're sitting just shy of 10 months in the reserves, 9.8 months. I'm here a long time. We have never had almost 10 months of reserves in the welfare fund. I'm not saying ever, but in my time sitting at that trustee table. And I'm even prouder to report that the annuity fund had a 10% return, 9.99. Again, coming off the back of a bad year the year before, completely offset that loss and added over $1 million in additional assets. The benefit to our annuity fund is it's still an immature fund. It has less than $40 million in total assets, but every month a significant number of assets come in. So we're dollar cost averaging into the market. What that means is that even when the market is terrible, we're buying at that low rate. And when the market starts to climb, we're capturing all of that upside. So as bizarre as it sounds, for a young plan, you want there to be some market struggles when you have this large cash infusion coming in, because it's not hitting your 800 million in assets like the pension fund. If you only have 25 million in assets and the market gets crushed, you're only going to lose 2.5 million, 10% loss in the market. But if you're able to buy that and then capture all that upside with all the additional incoming money, in the long run, it's actually more beneficial. That's what they'll tell you. And it's true on paper. I don't know that I want our participants to sustain that. I don't think anybody wants to see negative returns on their statements. But I can tell you, when you do see your close of year 23 statement, you should be a hell of a lot happier with it than you were with the end of the 22 statement. So we're very happy with that. A lot of things are different with the annuity fund than they are in the pension fund. There's no alternative investments. The asset classes are somewhat limited, and we do more of a bond ladder portfolio. And when you're buying depressed bonds, as long as you hold them to maturity and the company doesn't default, you're guaranteed the 100. You're guaranteed dollar for dollar, and you get the coupon and you get the interest. It's a very good situation. We have a really good set of bond managers running right now, and with the interest rate environment, it's been very good for our annuity fund. The last issue, well, it's not really an issue, but the last thing I guess I wanted to talk about is to let you know, compounding what Joe said earlier about our arbitrations. Where is he? There he is. George Capagianopoulos, currently our representative in Manhattan, and Gina Guelle, sitting in the front row here, currently our representative in Brooklyn and parts of Queens. All right. Early this year, they've already found 3 pretty substantial payroll errors and gotten them corrected in Glass Garden ShopRite, Gristedes, and in Shop From Home, which everybody always just called Peapod. And significant money. Hundreds and hundreds of members were not being paid properly, incorrect progression increases at Gristedes, failure to provide the 25 cents above the minimum at Glass Gardens, incorrect scheduling at ShopRite Home Delivery. I'm trying to call it the right thing. We still call it Peapod, but they don't. And those are all, everybody dance. Those are all substantial gains for our members. And for the record, we didn't have a situation where somebody reached out to them and said, hey, I have this problem. That's great. It's like the epic delay. Who can't get their phone off, Kathy? Thanks, Kathy Brawley. That's just our reps doing their due diligence, doing their payroll inspections. But look, this was going on for a little bit of time. If you don't think your check is right, pick up the phone. You don't think your check is right, send an email. Find your shop steward, send a text. I'm putting Michelle right to sleep. She just had a huge yawn. The realities are simple. We do everything we can to catch every mistake that's out there, but nobody's infallible. So if you think something's wrong, say something. Because if it is, we want to get it fixed for you. You pay your dues, you have a right to service, and we want to make sure that we're there for you. I was a bit all over the lot today, but I think it's more than appropriate to end with thanking 2 young union reps. These are 2 of your newest union reps here, and they found significant payroll errors in 3 companies. So I just want to give you both a hand. And Mr. MC, that concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Another round of applause for President Newell. Okay, so we're at the portion of the meeting where we're going to do Q&A.
Okay.
All right?
It's a good thing.
So I'm going to ask our Q&A guys who are not in the room. Take care of our staff, folks. Our staff, some of our staff is here, our pension and medical staff. Some are leaving. Oh, here's Steven Ziner of our Q&A. Of our Q&A crew.
You won't be able to see yourself. It's like 10 seconds behind on that screen.
Yeah. Unless you hang here for a while.
This is it?
That's it.
No one's going to come scrambling in with 3 others?
That's it for now.
Linda Milton, 26. I already answered your question. Very soon. She asked when the King Cullen contract was going to be ready. Deb Athens, Dan's 12. How can I find out? Dave Gelly, you want to come in?
Yeah, I was going to say, Dave.
Deb Athens, Dan's 12. How can I find out how much my pension check will be? Also had more pension questions. You can either send an email, Deb, to pension@ufcw1500.org, or you can call 516-214-1330 or 516-214-1333 and talk to Terry or Monique. They'll be happy to help you. See, that's how often I talk to you two. Chrissy O'Connor, King Cullen 46. Is King Cullen selling any stores? Not that we know of. We have not heard. The last store that we were of the impression that they were going to get out of was 11. They renegotiated with the landlord, and they're still there. So, in this day and age, would I be surprised if a lease was coming and they were evaluating leases? No, I think every employer that we have evaluates leases, and if there's extensions or if they have to renegotiate. Look, if I talk to people in this room that had cars that they bought 10 or 15 years ago and they went to buy a new car today, even if it was the same make and model with all the same trims, they're going to pay a shitload more today than they paid 10 or 15 years ago. It's significantly worse than that in the real estate world. So if your company has kept a store open for 30 years because it's still working off a lease that was negotiated in the 80s, and now it has to renegotiate a lease based on today's market rent, yeah, your companies are going to make some hard decisions. Because if the cost to operate per square foot doubles plus, where's the extra volume coming from? It just becomes a little bit more difficult. But as I sit here right now, I know of no King Cullen stores that are currently up for sale or that are slotted to close. With King Cullen, though, I mean, I don't know, it's like double secret probation. We're the last to know. We'll get that call 12 hours before if we're lucky. But I don't know of anything right now. Katie Tikas, Stop and Shop 559. If we know someone who has passed away and we want to help, can we give them your number? I don't really understand the question.
I guess it's right.
Oh, on the pension. If it's okay, so if it's about pension, yes. Same contact information as before. So if you know a pensioner that has passed away and there's a surviving spouse, you should contact the pension department. pension@ufcw1500.org. See, if you guys were really good, that would have been on the screen after I said it the first time. Or 516-214, I'm harassing my comms people, 516-214-1330 or 516-214-1333. Nick's like, well, just kill me now. And that's the best way to do it. Now, understand something, there's a spousal option that gets taken when a pension is filed for. So just because someone had a spouse that had a pension, there's a lot of mitigating factors. So the best order of business is direct them to contact the pension fund. Don't try to answer any of those questions on your own. We don't let our reps answer those questions because there are so many little variables and factors that impact the answers to those questions. So are there any questions in the room? Seeing none, hearing none.
Uh-oh. Gleason's hand going up.
Danny Gleason? Thank you. That's Paul Santopia's job. But I'll do it because you already spoke today and I don't want you to hurt yourself. So tomorrow from 1:45 to 7:45 is the blood drive here at 425 Merrick Avenue, Frank Meehan Hall. Paul Santopia, our director of operations, is in need of a few good arms to pull blood from. He doesn't care if you're a member, related to a member, walked by a member, or if a member abducted you and brought you here. He needs to hit his minimum number. We brought Dave Gelly in from the West Coast. That's how much Paul is trying to drive the extra pints. Honestly, come down. We'll feed you. It's a nice day.
It's going to be a nice day.
I hate needles, and I give blood every time. And it's not a terrible situation. It's very fast. And every pint of blood you give can save up to 4 lives, believe it or not. It's a really selfless thing to do. And if you can get past your fear, it's definitely something we would encourage you to come down and join us tomorrow. We do try to make it as fun as possible. Paul has some great gifts that he's raffling off tomorrow for free. And supposedly, I don't know, there was some rumor about him trying to raffle off a dinner date that he's going to pay out of pocket.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
Nice.
Well, I mean, he already admitted earlier to stealing television, so I'm sure you'll be dining and dashing. I don't think he's actually going to pay the check. So wear sneakers to the date, okay? But thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your membership and your attention tonight. Good luck. God bless. I love you. Stay tuned for the raffle.
It's raffle time, folks. It's raffle time. Come on, Vilma. Thanks, Phil. Want to come on camera, say hello to everyone? There you go. It's going to be a...
These were in-house, those are online.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to put together.
Not yet, not yet. So what are we doing there? We're doing the in-house first?
First is 5.
Dave, how are you?
How are you?
Thank you
to see
so
you.
much for coming.
Oh, I'm glad I could make it. How are you?
I didn't have to even call you this time. You're still on camera.
Yeah, yeah.
That's okay.
All right, ready to roll?
Listen up. Pulling the raffle.
Let's see, Peter, come here. He's up. He's up. How's that sound on the mic? We need the authentic sound of... Just pick one. We'll start it off with one.
Not yet. We're trying to quiet down the guys.
Laura Udale from Kings. We got Kings in the house. Come on. Come on up. Laura, I'm just gonna put them here. Okay. Hi, Laura. Congratulations. Can you pick a card, please? Don't look.
Nice to see you, Laura.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Katia Garcia, Food Bazaar 78. Hey. Hi. Congratulations.
Thank you for
Can you
coming.
pick a card, please? Thank you. Anne-Marie Griffin. Oh, front and center. Congratulations. Come on up. Come on up.
I know, right? It's been a while.
Here's your card. Congratulations.
Can I come back?
Yeah, whatever you want to do. You get on camera too? It's a 10-second delay, but you can watch yourself later.
I'll get a message from Dee.
There you go. Okay. Kathy Brawley. Is Brawley still here? Hey, got you. Congratulations. And hello. No. And can you please pick a card? Thank you.
That's because I bet like one of us bent in my pocket.
That's what it was. Alicia Island. ShopRite 815.
All right, come on down.
Okay, now we're going to mix them all together, right? Yes? Hey, congratulations. Thank you for coming. Can you pick one of these? Just give me 1 second. I'm going to dump these in here. Okay. Now we're going to include everyone from YouTube Live. Everyone gets a chance to win. Okay. Please pick one. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
One Kathy to another. Kathy Cassidy. Stop and Shop 2551. Congratulations, Kathy. Peter, come on back up. Come on, Pete. Don't look. Dig in there and pick one.
Thank you.
Nicole Lopez, Stop and Shop 2589. Nicole, congratulations. Gina, come here, please. Don't look. Okay, you got someone in person. Brian Lewis. Congratulations, Brian. Brian, please pick a card. Congratulations.
You know you have to pick.
Don't look, dig in there. There you go, that's good. Thank you, Brian.
Here you go.
Yeah, hold up, pick another one, please. Bruce Drago, King Cullen 57.
Okay.
Congratulations. We could clap for Bruce. He's not here, man. Don't look, dig in, get another one. Thank you. Peter J. Hoffman. Congratulations to you. Is that how that works? Congratulations, Pete. Okay, yeah. Dig in there, pick one.
Let's go hunting.
Kathleen Shannon, King Cullen 14. Kathleen, she's not here. YouTube Live. Congratulations, Kathleen. Jay.
Don't yell at me if it's not, it's blank.
No, it's not blank. These are the ones on the back of it.
Okay.
Beverly Sweeting, Embry. Stop and Shop 2515. Come on, Jay, let's pick another one. Let's see if you can redeem yourself in this room. Shake, shake, shake. Dig, dig, dig. Don't look. Just one. One of the. Thank you. No. Joseph Sinclair, Mandel 890, YouTube Live. Thank you, Joseph.
How many more do we have?
You have two more opportunities to get roasted in here. Come on, dig in.
It's gonna happen anyway.
Ah,
Oh, look at that.
Jean Joe Sass. Did I get that right? Yeah. Stop and Shop 545. And this is the last one.
Yep, you got one.
Did you gave Jean the card?
Oh, the screen's already.
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, I gave it to you? Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Jean. Congratulations. Last winner is Stacy Gonzalez from Peapod, which we still call it, $199. Congratulations, Stacy. That's that, right?
Yep.
Okay, everyone. I need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Rob Schnars, Rich Nelson, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Motion. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.